Okay, this week we're going over Project 3 on monitor temp and humidity. You'll need the particle photon, your DH T11 sensor. You'll have 3 male and female wires and 3 male wires, male to male wires. So 3 male and female, 3 male and male wires. The colors will be the same on both. You should have a red, yellow, and black for the male female 3 pair, or three of the male female, and 3 of the male should be red, yellow, black as well. We'll go ahead and connect the document camera here because we're going to set up a Blink app here in a second. But before we do, I want to make sure this is working first. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over here because this is the what it should end up looking like, and this is the end result. You'll notice the sensor is on the side of the case. It's taped on there. It's got the 3 wires of red, yellow, and black. It plugs into the breadboard. Then after the breadboard for red, yellow, and black, there is then a resistor, and then another red, yellow, and black, and then those red, yellow, and black, and those are mailed from the sensor to the board is it's female here to male plugging on the board, and then male to male from the board to the photon. All right. So I'm going to switch it off to from the camera mode to where you can see my iPhone here. So we want to set up the Blink app before we do anything. Blink app is you will go over that in a second, but you'll be downloading that from the App Store, whether it be an Android or iOS phone that you've got. Resize this a little bit more, put it over in the left here. I'll put it down here for now. Okay. Optional this week is and you're not getting this as one of your parts, but it is an option that you can power this with a power shield, which is basically battery operated instead of plugging it into the wall. It's $25. I have used it in different cases, and it's pretty easy to set up. It plugs over the top of the or the photon plugs over the top of this, and then this is the power port to charge it, and that's about it. Then this becomes the power source instead of the electric cord. Anyway, that's optional. You don't have to use that, but I did put that in there. So I've already done the reset of my photon. I'm going to disconnect it here in a second, redo it from scratch. The pins, I try to get some pretty close-up images of where the pins go. The pin 1, 2, and 3 on the sensor, because there's only 3 pins on the sensor itself, the DHT11. Pin 1 corresponds with the VIN, and the VIN, remember, is a power next to the power supply. VIN is. Then the pin 2 is the D2, which is right here. And then pin 3 is the ground by the D7 pin. So it's not the ground here, but it's the ground over here, right by the D7. So the resistor goes in between the wires from the sensor to the breadboard. It goes in between, and it goes actually between the sensor or the resistor actually is actually in the pin 1 and pin 2. Pin 2 is power, or pin 2 is data, pin 1 is power. And that's the reason why we need 2 sets of wires. We have the wires coming from the sensor to the board, a resistor, and then on the other side of the resistor, 3 more male-to-male wires from the corresponding red-to-red power. Out is the yellow and ground is black. And so these are male-to-male. So the red goes to the VIN, the yellow goes to the D2, and then the black goes to the ground over by the D7. I got a close-up shot here that'll help, hopefully. So once you put your tape on the wires here, what I did basically is I plugged it into the sensor, 3 wires, taped it, a piece of tape here, a piece of tape here, and that's it. Then the wires running from the sensor, plugging into the breadboard. It's these 3 right here. So this is pin 1, pin 2, pin 3. Pin 1 is the power, the VIN. Pin 2 is out, and pin 3 is ground. If you also look at the DHT11 sensor itself, you'll see those corresponding names on the actual pins coming out of the sensor. You'll see the power pin, you'll see the out pin, you'll see the ground pin. So that's coming from the sensor to the board, 1, 2, and 3. Then you'll notice the resistor. This is one row coming from the sensor. Second row is corresponding to pin 1 and pin 2, and this is the resistor. And then the third row is a male, red, yellow, and black corresponding. So from here, once we have these plugged in, then we're going to go to the photon. The red one goes to the VIN, plugs into the corresponding pin on the breadboard that corresponds to the VIN. The D2 is on the other side, and then the ground is on the other side as well. But before we actually do that, with the camera, I'm going to show you how to set up the Blink app. All you need to do for this is pretty simple. You just basically download the iOS or Android app to your phone. You'll log in or set up an account. You will have to, once you set up an account, it will send you an email, which I'll show you what it looks like. Here's a getting started email. You don't need to do anything with this email because I have all the needed hooks for you that you need. And we're going to be using the development version. If you wanted to make this to go live in a live environment, that would cost, but we're not going to use it that way. And if you go to Blink's app, the getting started, it'll talk about the cost, which isn't real expensive, if you want to use it in production. But we're going to use the free development plugins for it, version for it. So what you'll do is once you install the Blink app, you will fire up the Blink app, make sure you're logged in to the Blink app, like the screen on mine here on the right. I'm logged into my Blink app. Now you'll notice there's a button that looks like a QR code. You're going to tap on that, and then you're going to put your camera over the QR code, and you'll see what happens here. Mine says I need more energy because I've added it. I'm just going to say not now for right now. I'll go and do $2.99 here so we can continue this. And I'd recommend that, the lowest cost, if it does prompt you for that, because you get a free 1,000 energy, which is enough to send a few verifications back and forth, and then you have to start paying for production. So these are 1,000 iterations that can be used. All right, let's go do it again. All right, so there's what you should see on yours. It says DHT11, and it's the top part here is a graph showing a live graph, 15 minutes, 30 minutes back, hour back, all the way back to 12 hours. This here shows a current temperature. It will in a second. This here shows your humidity. And one of the reasons I put the sensor on the outside of the case is so it would have better readability with the temperature and humidity. So once you've done what I just did on yours, and again, you shouldn't have to pay for anything initially until you use that 1,000 credits, that 1,000 free. And when it does, if it does prompt you for it, I would recommend the lowest end, which is $2.99. Okay, so then you can connect your Blink app to your Photon. This is pretty simple. What you'll do is you'll tap on the octagon-looking device on the app, and to get to that, basically, you just tap anywhere on the app, like tap here or something, and then you'll see an octagon-looking icon. You'll tap on that. Then you'll scroll down till you see the devices, and it says temps. You're going to tap on temps, and then tap on temps again up here at the top, and replace the word temps with whatever the name of your Photon is. And make sure the spelling's just like it is in Particle, and you should be good. And it is syntax sensitive, so if it's all lowercase, in fact, I name all my Photons all lowercase, so don't have to worry about it. The device should be the same Photon. We're not going to change that. It's going to be Wi-Fi. Down here, though, what I'd like you to do, and I have this in the GitHub, is tap refresh. What it's going to do is change that token. So I'm going to tap it. So do you really want to do it? You'll need to reflash your temps. So if you ever do reflash it again or reset it or refresh it again, it will need to be reflashed on the Photon and Particle. I'm going to say refresh. Now I'm going to click email, and it's going to send this authentication token to my email. Now I'm going to go to my email, and It might take a little bit to get there. And what we're going to do basically is take that token once we get it in the email, we're going to save it for later, for whenever we put our code in Particle, because it needs that to talk to the app. Now, while we're waiting on the email, I'm going to show you some stuff about the app, how it's set up. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go back to devices, click OK again. And I'm going to tap on the temp module here, this one right here. The way this app works is it's drag and drop, and you'll notice it has the word temp in there. And I have in here the V1, which is what's called a virtual input. And I have it from 0 to 100 degrees. I also have in it, whatever the pin is, it's going to be Fahrenheit on the end. And this is going to give us the Fahrenheit label on the end of the temperature. You'll see in a second. Then you can play with the font size and font color. And it is a push, meaning it's going to be pushed from the photon particle to the Blink app. So that's that one. Now I'm going to go to the other one, which is the humidity one. Tap on that. We're going to get the reading from the app and particle, and it's going to be named humidity. It's going to be what's called a vertical or a virtual input 2 is what I call it, V2. 0 to 4095. It's push as well. And then the top one, I'm going to tap on that. This is a graph that's going to actually use the temp again. And it's going to take a timeline of the temp, basically, is what it's going to do for us. It just keeps a timeline over periods of time, months and weeks of time. So let's check the email here and see if it's come in yet. Sometimes you have to send it more than once if it doesn't come through the first time. I'm going to try it one more time here. And I'll probably get like 2 in a row or something, but that's okay. It's sending, and it says it's sent. There it is. I want to get the latest and greatest. Let's see. Zero minutes ago, that's what we want. And it should match, this code's going to match with what's in the app. And it does. IRS, and then it ends with the NUMH. So this code here, I'm going to copy this authentication code, and I'm going to bring it into a notepad for later. And what I would like to do on the app at this time, I'm just going to click OK and keep it on this screen here right now. Keep going down. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the code. We're not going to flash it yet because I haven't went through how to connect it yet, but we'll have it ready to flash. So the way this works is we're going to go to Particle New as always. We're going to title it. Add the libraries. We're going to add libraries this week, which Particle lets you add libraries. And the libraries needed for the different sensors. So we're using an Adafruit DH2 particle. So we'll need that library. We'll need the Blink library for the Blink app. And on line 88, once we paste it, we'll need to replace the Blink token here with our authentication token. All right. And I also have a link at the bottom here. You can just click on. It'll bring you right to. Make sure you're logged into Particle before you click on it, but it'll bring you right to the link that shares the app for you. Then you'll just have to hit copy this app. You'll notice the included libraries are in that link. The Blink is included. The Adafruit's in that included. But if you wanted to do it from scratch on your own, you can definitely. All you'll do basically is click on this link, put the title in, add the libraries, and the way you add the libraries is over here where it says libraries. You can just start typing in the different, like Adafruit DHT, that's one of them you need. You hit include library and save it. And then the other library is the link. And you click include in project and save it.